Season 3, Episode 3 of the Fanatic Brackets. I am Nick, your host. With me, as always, is my co host, Joel. And
Yo,
today, for this March edition of the show, we are joined by the 2024 final bracket winner from last year, our
yes,
boy,
sir.
referee Angel Cruz. What's going on, man? How's that?
Yeah. What's going on, fellas? What's going on? Looking to do this bracket. It was fun the last time.
N-
Exactly,
Man,
exactly.
look at this last list. This is gonna be a wild one.
This is
It
this is
is.
gonna be a good one. I was looking
Yeah,
back at it. I was like, man, this should be fun because it's kind of I didn't expand it too many years. I kind of like
Yeah,
did
yeah.
like late '80s, mid '90s kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And what made you come up with this topic of the greatest non WWE champions
because
list?
there were so many wrestlers that never got like a world title run.
Yeah.
So it's like, who's the best one? Like who's that one that should have
Right.
had a title run at least just once.
Yeah.
True.
Who's
Yeah.
that one? It's a good topic to run with.
Good. That's true. That's very true. Guess we will determine that. But for those who are listening or watching who have not seen a previous episode before, the rules are as followed. We will each go matchup by matchup, choosing who we personally think was a better non WWE champion. Whichever participant gets 2 to 3 votes will move on to the next round, all the way to the finals. It is an opinion based show, so there's not a specific way to look at it. We could base it off of uh, the in ring ability, character work, impact on the company, any way we want, not a specific way. But with that being said, let's get right into the bracket.
Let's kick it
Angel, we're
off.
going to start with you with the first round. In your opinion, who do you think was the better non WWE champion who hasn't won the championship yet? Billy Gunn,
Between these two, Billy Gunn and Ted
Ted DiBiase.
DiBiase, the $1 million Man. Um, I like Billy. I've always liked Billy Gunn, especially when he transitioned to, Mr. Ass. I think he had a pretty good run after the tag team
Yeah,
thing. Um, but man, I like Ted DiBiase. Like he was the ultimate bad guy, like the money guy. You know what I'm saying? Like who? Why wouldn't he be a champion? You know what I'm saying? Or buy his way into some sort of title picture. So you know, this is a little tough, but I have to say Billy Gunn. Just for my liking of him breaking out of the tag team scene and kind of doing his thing as a single star. Yeah, Billy Gunn, man. I think he should have had a run with it.
that's a good pick. That's a good pick. Joel, in your opinion, which one of these two had was better between the two?
I gotta agree with Angel. I think it's Billy Gunn,
Ooh,
man. I love Ted DiBiase's character. I love that he was kind of in the running for it for WrestleMania 4, but they didn't pull the trigger. But I think Billy Gunn, like agreeing with Angel, like breaking out of that tag team mold and then becoming Mr. Ass and then also becoming the one Billy Gunn and all the stuff that he's done in his career, he should have really had at least one run. But I guess it was just during a time that there was just so many
yeah,
stars that you couldn't really just like fit him in. I mean, you they could have,
They could have.
but they
yeah.
didn't want to. I guess I don't know what was the deal with him, but I think I would go with Billy Gunn.
Okay, good choices. I was gonna choose Ted DiBiase, to be honest,
Okay.
because I feel like between the two, it was more than likely that Ted should have been and obviously they wrestled in different times. But I'm saying like in terms of impacting their career, he should have won it. I think he had a higher chance of being champion over Billy Gunn. Again, Joel, like you said, Billy Gunn was there in a time where the roster was stacked. Um, you had Ted DiBiase again. It was like both these guys had great in ring work with promo skills to back it up. Um, but I feel like Ted DiBiase was one of a kind of a character. Like, yeah, we see many rich people gimmicks since then, but he was the OG one,
Yeah.
really. Um, but he even created his own championship for it.
Yeah.
But I feel like he was an underrated gimmick, underrated promo artist, one of the greatest. He was, like you said, Angel was a badass. Everyone hated him. Surprised that he never really won it. I just found him more of a surprise to not win it over Billy Gunn. So that's what I would choose Ted DiBiase, to be honest. So yeah, I'm going with Ted DiBiase. But either
I
way,
agree.
Billy Gunn. moves on. But yeah, what were we
Yeah,
gonna say, Joel?
I was gonna say Ted DiBiase, like Angel said, like it's crazy that they never did that storyline with him buying his like I've like they tried to do it but never really pulled the trigger of him buying his way into like into a championship match. Like I
Yeah,
think that would have been a
Yeah,
cool storyline for them to do, especially with all the baby faces they had back then.
yeah,
well, who's pulling the strings was Hulkamania.
It's
yeah.
not gonna work for me,
It's
brother.
like, yes, not happening.
Yeah. So it's again, it was just more of a more shocking that if you look back at it, like Ted DiBiase didn't win it out of all people.
I
I'm
think
not.
they did that tournament. I think he should have won the tournament. Like they gave it to Savage
Oh yeah,
for the world title. I mean, they could have gave it to Ted DiBiase too.
just a whole different bit.
They
Even
should
going
have.
back to like the Billy Gunn thing too is like I think what hurt him was that program with The Rock. So after that program with The Rock, I guess they didn't see him as a
The
world
guy.
title
Yeah.
contender because The Rock kind of like shit it all over him.
That one promo I feel killed
Yeah,
his
yeah,
whole
killed his
spark he
momentum.
had.
Like
Yeah.
he was hot, man. Like didn't he like he won the King of the Ring?
Yeah,
He was like the hottest thing.
they were doing stuff with him. They just
Yeah, yeah,
never
yeah.
put him in that title picture.
Then they
And
put him back
then
into a tag team with Palumbo. So it was
Yeah,
like
oh, he was downhill
he
from
was
there.
going up,
Like
yeah, and then back down to that tag team, and it's
yeah.
like okay, now there's just no plan for him here.
yeah,
It's just back to a tag team guy, I guess.
yeah.
So it was very weird. But again, it was just more of like which one surprised me as not being a champion. That should have been more. Um, but yeah, Billy Gunn, regardless, moves on to the next round. Anyways, next matchup we have Ricky the Dragon Steamboat going up against Jeff Jarrett. Joel, we're going to start with you in this one. Which one do you find better between the two?
So I love Ricky, but Ricky I feel was always stuck in the mid card scene in the
Yeah,
WWF. I feel like he was more of a bigger star in WCW, but even then, they hardly tried to put him over because, of course, Ric Flair was everywhere, Sting was everywhere. They had their big names, but he was reliable. Double J, I love Jeff Jarrett. I still think that WWF like really messed up on the way that they
hmm
handled him. I feel he could have been a star. Did they mess it up in WCW? Of course, because they kind of just try to like put the rocket on him and sent him to the top. I feel like WWF could have gradually gotten up there, and he had the mic skill, he had the in ring ability. Um, so just for that, I feel like I'm gonna go with Jarrett on this one.
that's a good pick. That's a
Yeah,
good
because
pick.
Steamboat was
Yeah,
he was always the face of the IC title. I feel every time like if you think of the Intercontinental title, he's one of like the top names I think of. Um, I
yeah,
think that was a good spot for him. It would have been really cool to see him as a world champion, but personally, I would have loved to have Jeff Jarrett as a champion even more.
yeah. I could stuff it. Yeah, I would agree. But Angel, I'm going to go with you first. Who do you think between these two?
All right.
Who's better in your
Well,
opinion?
kind of. I think me and Joe are on the same page today so far. Ricky Steamboat was great, like in ring talent. But like Joel said, I think he was more in WWF, the mid Carter. WCW, I think they gave him a world title, but it's apples and oranges in that sense.
Yeah,
WWE looks for something else. They don't even bother looking at what they did in prior years in other companies. Um, Jeff Jarrett though, like once he got out of the Double
Oh,
J
the singing
yeah,
gimmick,
yeah,
singing
yeah.
and he got the crew cut, and he was just badass. Like I was
Had
like,
Deborah,
this
yeah.
Jeff Jarrett
yeah,
is dope. You know, I think they should have gave him something. I think at one point he came back with that NWA title. Or I don't remember if he had cut his hair during that time, but he was making that transition into like the big single star, and for whatever reason, it just didn't. It just didn't give him anything. Um, I don't know if they was just too planted on that era of like Stone Cold because it was like 98, 99 in that
yeah.
sense,
Very
or
true.
even a couple of years. before that. I loved when he had his run in WCW. I was like, this is Jeff Jarrett. This shit is fire, man. Like this
Yeah,
is
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, man. I wish Jeff Jarrett would have had a nice title run in WWE, man. That would have been dope.
yeah, that is true. I mean, I was originally going to go with Ricky, but I'm thinking I'm going to change my mind and go with Jeff Jarrett as well because
That's why he went last. See,
no, no, I was on the fence. I was on the
He was
fence
he's
thinking.
just
He was
because
fine.
still. He was weighing his options still.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
'cause I wasn't not sure yet. But I agree with both of you. I feel like um yeah, now that I think about it, Ricky was kind of more in the mid Carter picture more often. I feel like with Jeff, he found like many different ways to reinvent himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like any opportunity he was given, he made sure he did his best at it. I was thinking about it too, like outside of WWE, he did stuff with TNA again. Even though WCW wasn't much for him, but I feel like seeing what he was worth outside of WWE made me think like, oh, why wasn't he WWE champion at all? Why wasn't he given that opportunity to shine in WWE? You know, because then maybe if he did get that, I don't want to say 5 seconds of fame, but that moment to shine that'll get him over the top, maybe he would have been that champion
Yeah.
that we all would have seen. Um, and for most of his career, he kind of felt like in WWE specifically like a low Carter. You know, and it shouldn't have been that way. Everywhere else he went, he made it big. He made it known that he was the guy.
Yeah.
Again, TNA, he became NWA World Champion multiple times, right? It was like
Yeah.
a
King of the Mountain, baby.
yeah.
Oh,
So
that was his company, you know. So
yeah,
he was running.
Oh
yeah,
His
yeah.
but still, it was it's still up there. Um, but he a lot of one of mid card champions in WWE never really got the time to shine to make in the big stage.
Yeah.
So, um, again, I was just thinking about it. I'm like, damn, it should have been something that at least give him one world title reign as well. I want to say that a lot for these other guys as well,
Yeah.
but it's just he had other places to go to and make himself a big name except for WWE. So it just
Yeah.
sucked that it had to be that way.
And he could
Um,
cut a promo. It wasn't even like he couldn't talk or nothing. Like he could
He was
actually cut a
great.
promo.
Yeah.
yeah,
At least with
yeah,
Ricky, it was like, okay, put him on the mic. Like you can't really
When
do a
he did
lot
that
with him.
program with China, that should have been enough to show this
oh
dude
yeah,
is willing to do anything. He put her over
Yep.
as a major star. You could have gave him a little break, and then
yeah,
as soon as he came back, have him a quick run. You could have like what they did with Kane as a 24-hour champion. He won the title and
Yeah.
lost it the next day, kind of just so he could have a picture, as in the history book.
yeah, yeah. It would be like one of those photos, like, oh, it must be Photoshop. Like, nah, it's real. It's
Yeah,
actually real.
no.
Yeah,
Even though it
yeah.
was for one night, it
Yeah,
happened.
It
exactly.
happened.
Man.
Yeah,
Like,
it counts. Technically, it counts.
they screwed Stone Cold. He won the title, and then they lose it the next day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, Jeff Jarrett makes it on to the next round of this bracket. Next matchup we have is Mr. Perfect going up against Ken Shamrock. I'm going to start this one off. Personally, I'm going to go with. I don't know if he's going to win it. Maybe he will, but I'm going to go with Mr. Perfect. I feel like he embodied the Intercontinental Championship, kind of like Ricky. We could say the same argument. He was a mid Carter, but he didn't feel like one while holding the belt. You know, I know Joel. We did a Intercontinental bracket last year with the other Angel.
Yes.
So we were talking about Mr. Perfect. He felt like a world champion as a mid card title, as a mid card champion. So he had was a fantastic wrestler, very good technician. Just his ability to just wrestle and to his presence just felt like very big that it melt. Again, I want to repeat it over and over again. It just felt like he was much more than an IC champion. Um, Ken Shamrock, he was great in the ring. I wasn't really too familiar with him during his time, but I just felt like Mr. Perfect, being that IC championship earned him one world title win in the record book. Again, it doesn't have to be like a long ass title reign, but I feel like embodying that mid card role should have gotten him out of that picture and more into the main event scene, which he was for a bit. But again, at least give him a title for one week, one day, do something with it. So
That
I
is
feel
true.
like
Yeah.
that was more of a surprise to him for him to not hold it at all. After how many IC titles did he win? It was like a few, right? Again,
Rick,
it was
say like 3, 4.
yeah. I feel like at that point you're like, all right, let's not give him the IC title again. Let's move him on to the world title picture, at
Yeah,
least.
elevate him. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I feel like Ken Shamrock wasn't given that opportunity to do so. You know, he had that aura to him as well to be a world champion. Um, I'm not too familiar with his situation and why they didn't make him or what storylines it wasn't put in. So I'm gonna have to go with Mr. Perfect on there. Um, Angel, who do you think was better between the two, Ken Shamrock and Mr. Perfect?
Um, I'm gonna have to rock with Mr. Perfect, but I- Ken Shamrock is kind of close though because at the time that Ken Shamrock came in, like you mentioned, he did have an aura about him. Remember, he was like the first UFC fighter to
Yeah,
come into the WWF at
Yes.
that time. So it was like, why wouldn't he be a world champion? Because he's this, this big time fighter coming from a legit sport.
yeah,
He could just take out anybody at any time. Um, that could have been something where they pushed that story where he's unstoppable in a sense. But Mr. Perfect, man, like, dude, I still go back to watch his matches till today. I always look at some matches of his because he was just like that skilled in the ring, whether he was in the ring, whether he was a manager, any a commentator, he played his part perfectly to and look, his name is Mr. Perfect.
yeah.
Everything he did like was so
Perfect.
dope. But then again, he didn't get that run in WCW either. So
Nope.
I just don't get it. Like, he should have had something. I remember he was feuding with Hulk Hogan for the WWF title, and again, you could have gave him something like just one run. Like, I'm looking at this list, like a lot of these guys could have had just one run. We could have just changed the title. And like, who needed at least one run of a world
Yeah,
title to this list?
Yeah,
But
like
Mr.
Hulk.
Perfect, man, he was dope. My boy Mel Sanchez, Mel the Blind Fury, he actually answered one of the polls. He had put it up from this bracket of yours. He was like, dude, Mr. Perfect. Him, and he gave me another name. I think it was Owen Hart. He was like, those two should have had some sort of run. But yeah, I have to agree. Mr. Perfect should have even more than one. Like, he was just that guy in the ring.
yeah. That is true. That is true. Didn't Shamrock also have big wins against like some of the top guys during his time?
Shamrock had
He had like
Shamrock.
good ones. He was
he had a lot
always in
of
the top program. He was
Yeah.
in
yeah.
top programs a lot. And then when they started doing the corporation stuff, he was just like a bodyguard
He
type
was
thing. Like,
muscle.
he was a
Yeah.
goonie,
Yeah,
after a while. He started winning by fluke, but it's like he could have been that top dude too. How do he
No.
like turn babyface on a corporation? Who knows? He could have beat The Rock,
possibly.
you
Yeah,
know, turn around and be like, yo, I want that title. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm the legit one right here.
yeah.
Stuff like that could have happened.
That is
But
true.
I'll go with Perfect though. I think Perfect had more of the in ring skills, and you know that can catapult anybody in the ring. He can go with, no matter who it was.
Definitely.
Definitely. Joel, who do you choose? Perfect or Shamrock?
I love Mr. Perfect. I would love to pick Mr. Perfect, but I'm going to go with Shamrock just because I don't want to see that zero. And also, homie helped make The Rock. He helped make one of your biggest stars.
Word.
Like when you think of The Rock and the beginning of The Rock, I always think of WrestleMania 14 with Shamrock and him and the chair shot that he hits Shamrock with. That helped make the character of The Rock. And then of
Mm,
course he went into the corporation stuff. But I feel like just with that, you could have revisited that storyline with Rock as champion and had Ken Shamrock have that big baby face moment of like taking down the Rock. I feel like that would have been a cool moment. Multiple title reigns, I don't know, but I feel like having just that one would have been cool to like kind of tie it all together of him and the Rock and kind of being like head to head with each other because I feel like a lot of people forget about Shamrock when people bring up the Rock's history.
yeah.
Um, but also I just don't want to see him go down with zero. But Mr. Perfect was Mr. Perfect. Like, come on. I don't know. This man, what one of the best matches I've ever seen with Bret Hart. His back wasn't even 100%. This
Yeah.
man was working through an injury, and it's one of the greatest matches in my opinion.
Wow.
But because of that, I just don't want to see Shamrock go down with a 0. So I'm gonna pick
Understandable.
Shamrock.
Understandable. But Mr. Perfect makes it to the next round. Next matchup, we do have Razor Ramon going up against Mr. Kennedy. Um, Joel, you can start this one off if you
It's
want.
Razor. It's
Razor. Okay.
Razor. How was he never a
Yeah.
champion? It's Razor. Look at his accolades. Look at the matches he was having. Look at the trajectory he was on. He was IC champion. Why didn't you just throw him in the world title scene after? It's ridiculous. I love Kennedy. That whole story is a mess as well. But
Oh yeah.
Razor was a it wasn't a guy that they decided to go with him. The fans loved Razor. Everyone loved Razor. He was just one of those characters that everyone like. He would get big pops. He had great matches. He could talk on the mic. His vignettes were amazing. How was this man never have a belt
Yeah.
around the world title around his waist?
Yeah.
That is true.
Like out
That
of
is
all the
true.
Click members, I love Diesel. Awesome. How did he get it before Razor? I get it. He's tall. He's big. Come on. It should
Yeah.
have been Razor.
Vince is the big guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
big muscles, man.
Yo,
yeah.
Scott. Well, Razor Ramon is not a small dude though. Like,
I
Yeah,
mean,
but
like
he's a
compared to
big dude.
Nash,
compared
though,
to
it's like,
compared to
yeah,
next to Diesel,
yeah,
I guess they wanted that big
tall
muscle
guy.
guy. I don't
Yeah.
know, man, but Razor 1000%.
What I'm gonna go Razor too. I mean, you pretty much nailed it on the head. No pun intended, but he is one of the coolest guys you probably ever see in the wrestling ring, and it made it known too. I think he was like a more pivotal wrestler that had everything. He had like, I'm gonna pretty much repeat what you said, Joel. The look, the promo skills, the in-ring ability. He was able to get you invested into everything, regardless of heel or babyface. Um, the bad guy stuff was just he just had a full of charisma. It just, I mean, in terms of match quality, I went back to watch a few of his matches. Again, based on his in-ring ability alone, why wouldn't you make someone like that a world champion? He definitely was, again, no pun intended, a cool wrestler, and it's just like baffles me. Mr. Kennedy at least was supposed to be a champion, you
Yeah,
know, like they literally had a story written for him. Just unfortunately had an injury that kept him back.
yeah,
Um,
true.
so well, I don't know how true it is. Like, oh, you have a bicep injury, cool. Let's keep it out for a long ass time. Cena did it in like what, uh, a quad. What was it? What did he tear his chest and
I
then came
forgot
back
what
and
he tore for that.
Cena's not even human, bro.
yeah,
Cena's
yeah,
just that's another story.
yeah. But Mr. Kenny had a year with that briefcase. He could have done something with that.
Yeah,
You could have waited and be like, "Yo, just have you on TV until you're ready. Wait till the last minute. Maybe you're cleared. You could win it." But I don't know. Razor Ramon just had it all. I mean, so did Kennedy, but he was at a point where he was still on the rise. Um, Again, the Money in the Bank could have changed his career out to be better than what it was, and he would have been in a different place right now. But I think Razor Ramon, he was there. He had the ability. He had everything. He was a world champion, just didn't have the belt on him at all.
yeah.
You know. So I'm gonna have to go with Razor. Angel, is it a full sweep
Uh
or are you going to Kennedy?
yeah, it's definitely gonna be a full sweep. Razor, man, like hands down, the dude was he was cool as shit. Like he had everything, like you said. He can talk. He had the in ring skills. His vignettes, his merchandise was off the charts. Like you, every time you see someone in the stands and in the audience,
Yeah,
that razor foam, the razor blade foams, the t-shirts, like he was a hot
He has such
commodity for
cool
WWF.
merch.
His merch was
yeah,
fire.
Yeah, he
yeah.
has
I think I
such
had
cool
like a
shit.
Razor Ramon shirt when I was a kid. I think I might still have it somewhere, but like, he was that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, women loved him. I'm sure
I wish I had one of his shirts that he
guys
wore in
either
the ring.
loved him or were jealous of him because of
Facts, yeah.
him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like everything about him. Like, why wouldn't you make this guy your champion? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like Mr. Kennedy, like you said, he was in that program, the Money in the Bank,
yeah.
holder, and he should have at least had that quick run. But whatever happened happened, and things changed. But man, Ray, like he's just in a tough spot right now against Razor. Like you can't top that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy. Razor was just that guy.
Yeah.
he was. He was, man. Again, it's not like a pun. He really was a cool wrestler. Like it's not like a gimmick anymore. It's just what he was.
Yeah, well, he
Um,
was like inside, outside the ring. Like that's who he was. He was cool as shit. Like
yeah, facts, facts, man. I mean, again, Baffle, he didn't even wasn't even given. I'm sure he had opportunities to go up against it, right? So it was just
I
why
think
not
early
pull
in
the plug?
his career, yeah, I think he was going against Brett um,
That would make
during
sense.
that time. So that was like
Yeah,
when he
okay,
first
yeah,
started
yeah.
coming in, 92, 93. He started getting some title shots, but after that, they kind of kept him low key in the IC title picture.
It's just he was just the backup guy for people. You know what I mean? When it was with Nash, it was him and Nash, so can't make one of them the world champion, I guess. You know,
Yeah.
but
WCW never even did anything with him.
WC. Well, he had his
again, he
issues
was
in
But
just
like
WCW.
that was down the road. He
yeah,
was. It seemed like he was cool for a good 2 years. You could have done something.
Yeah, I mean they could have, but you know who was holding that down, man?
Yeah.
yeah,
Come
Who?
on, brother.
yeah. But yeah, Razor Ramon does move on to the next round. This next matchup, we do have Rikishi and Farouk. Uh, Angel, I'm going to start with you this one. Who do you think was the better non WWE champion between the two?
All right. Now, when we're talking about Farouk, it's not the APA Farouk. We're talking about when he first jumped into WWE as he had like the blue thing on, and then
Yeah.
he went
That
into the
was.
Nation. So now we're talking about the Nation.
Okay.
Farouk, he had the Nation of
Yep.
Domination. That Farouk, badass. He had Mark Henry behind him.
Yeah.
He had who else he had with him? D'Lo before the Rock.
Rock. Yeah, before The Rock.
Yeah.
Before the Rock. I think he could have had something. They were touching base on like stories that you don't even want to hear about, the racism in the WWE and stuff like that. Like they were really touching those points, and Farouk was just nailing it. Like he was great on the
Yeah.
mic in the ring, and I think and people were gravitating to it to hate him as one of his top heels. Um, and Rikishi, he has so many freaking characters. Rikishi towards the end of like
Yeah.
99, early 2000s, maybe. I think he was more of like a gimmick wrestler than
Mm,
an actual world title contender. For that alone, I will have to give it to Farouk.
that makes sense. That would make sense. Joel, who do you think, Rikishi or Farouk?
Yeah, Farouk. I have to go with Farouk because I was gonna bring up the Nation as well. Like he had that whole group with him and
Nation
they didn't do
was
nothing. Like that would have been a cool group to run with and kind of
top
let them,
faction.
yeah, let them hold some of the belts together, and that would have been a cool time.
Take over.
Rikishi, I think they waited too long. I think they
Yeah.
because they did the comedy stuff and he was just a gimmick wrestler of doing the dance and stuff.
Yeah.
Then they decided to try and put him in the title scene, and I think it just didn't go over well with a lot of people
Yeah.
because they were so used to the baby face Rikishi of just put on your glasses and dance. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, it was hard
that's
to shift away from that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was pretty hard.
Yeah.
I give them credit though for trying it out and at least giving him that spot.
Yeah.
But I have to go with Farouk because, like we talked about with the Nation, how didn't you have him be a world
Yeah.
champion?
That faction would have been crazy if
Yeah.
they would have ran with it more.
Yeah,
I think they were butting heads. It was like the start of DX. You had the Heart Foundation at the same time.
yeah.
So I think they kind of fell to the wayside.
They had their own Hulk Hogan. His
Yeah.
name was Shawn Michaels though at that time.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah.
my guy was a dickhead.
It happens. He learned. It's all good.
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna choose Farouk as well, but I don't want to see Rikishi go down with the zero. Could you use your tactic, Joel? The reason why I say that is because I've always liked how Rikishi was able to move in the ring for someone his size. And I feel like for that time when he was doing the too cool stuff, I feel like that would have been the time to make him a world champion. But going back to what Angel said, I think you're right. I think Vince saw him as just, oh, you're just an entertainer, you know? But wouldn't you want an entertainer to be your world champion? Because isn't it at the end of the day, world wrestling entertainment? That's what you focus on and try to make big.
Very
Um,
true.
so that's why I was thinking, like, oh, you could have made this guy a champion. But I feel like he also was during a time, kind of like what we were saying with Billy Gunn, like also during a time where there was a stacked main roster scene. So would you have given him the title then? At the same time, they gave it to Mick Foley for a bit. He had a big moment against, was it The Rock or Triple H
Yeah, The
when he
Rock.
won it?
The Rock.
Yeah. So it was like, I mean, not saying anything bad about Mick Foley, but if you were able to give him a title shot, you could have given it to Rikishi too at some point, even if it was like a day or a week. Um, it was there. I feel like the momentum was there. Not to foreshadow his son, but Jey Uso right now is killing it with just saying yeet. You know, people are behind him. I feel like it's, even though it was a different time to be, I don't think they would have given Jey Uso the title then if it was over, but um, it was just, I feel like he was hot going. He was up there with the crowd and everything, and he was good in the ring. Um, so I don't know. It was, I love Farouk. I get why people would say he is a better wrestler or an overall should have gotten the title first. But again, I would just feel like someone I think they saw him more of like also a tag team specialist. They never really given him a shot by himself, at least for the most part towards the end of his run. So I'm gonna have to go with Rikishi just to avoid the zero next to his name too. But yeah, Farouk moves on to the next round. Next matchup, interesting one.
Oof.
We got William Regal going up against Jake the Snake Roberts. Um, Angel, you want to start this one off? Who do you think is the better wrestler?
I,
This is a
I
tough
love both
one.
of
Yeah,
them. Jake had the character.
yeah,
Definitely had the character. He has the psychology of the ring. Like the dude could talk to you. He's almost like a Bray Wyatt s
yeah,
type talker. Um, In ring was great. His snake thing was his whole big gimmick. No one kicked out of the DDT. Like that
yeah,
that move was protected. Dude had a look like whether he was heel, baby face, it just worked for him. Regal, he's kind of like the throwback European wrestler, almost
yeah,
Gunther style.
yeah.
Hold Sorry, I heard something moving in the kitchen. Um,
Nah.
but yeah, Regal is like Gunther esque type thing. So if they could have put like a Gunther type character in Regal back then, might have worked, you know. But
Yeah.
I guess it just wasn't in the cards for him. But as far as his voting thing is, I will have to go with Jake.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. I'm actually gonna agree with you, to be honest. I want to go with Jake. Jake was a fantastic heel. Again, someone who, like you said, someone who they protected most. And I loved Regal. He was a talented wrestler, um, great technician. Uh, he had a great in-ring work, and he could have been much bigger than what he was, to be honest, if they were booking him right. Um, he also excelled as someone who worked serious and unserious type wrestling. He did a lot of comedy stuff, which is pretty cool. But Roberts, who had again, like you said, I'm gonna go back to what you said with the the protective finisher, was just something so simple, the DDT. Nowadays, is just a regular move that a lot of people do in a ring. But when he did it, it's like you said, no one's able to kick out like the Claymore now, or no, was it? It was Corbin's end of days finisher. They made that to being very protected, which is very rare now. But um, back then, it was used a lot, and it was some simple move as the DDT. The character work, the heel work that Jake was able to do was fantastic. I mean, I feel like he was one of a kind, of a heel, one of a kind type of character. I've always loved Regal. He's also one of the what ifs. Like, what if he had a bigger stage or give him more? He could have been a world champion, without a doubt. But when you look at someone like Jake Roberts and you say, "Hell, he wasn't never a WWE or WWF champion," it kind of blows your mind a little bit. It's like, why was he never given the shot? He was never, someone like that was a mid carder at best in their eyes. Uh, was just baffling to think about. So, like, it's just I had to choose Jake. Joel, is you going to sweep this one, or you going to choose Regal?
Clean sweep. I love Regal, but Jake was something else, and like every movement he did in the ring mattered. Whether it was just him sliding out the ring very slowly, him speaking on the mic very slowly, trying to get into his opponent's head. Um, he, like you guys said, like it's unbelievable that he wasn't a champion around that time, especially that he was doing such great heel work, and they kind of looked at him and kind of just looked at him as a mid carder, and they were like, okay, because I don't know for sure. Maybe Angel knows. Did he ever have like a title,
He
like,
had no title wins in WWE.
right? Like he
Really?
not even a story, right? The most he did,
No
like,
IC title, no tag title.
ridiculous, and he has so many memorable moments, and he has
I
no
guess
championship
they I
wins.
guess they use it for the moment and not for the accolades. They were
But
trying
he,
to go for
yeah,
that.
but I think he made the moments more
Then they did for him.
than they
And
did. Yeah, like the way they
Yeah,
booked it, I don't think they thought it was gonna become what it became. But because
what's
Jake
crazy
was
is that
Jake,
but they should have seen that and been like, "Yo, we could do something with this guy."
yeah,
But I guess they didn't that way.
yeah, he was really hot early 90s, 80, late 80s, early 90s. Like he was really hot. His feud with Savage was like off the charts, man. Like that should have
right after the
catapulted him
wedding.
into the main event picture right
Yeah,
there
Yeah,
alone. You took out WWF's top star in Savage. His next step was should have been a world title.
yeah.
yeah. Especially after feuding with Taker too. He had a great Taker feud.
Ooh, I remember. Yeah, I was watching that the other
Yeah.
day. I was like, "Damn, this is."
I think they kind
Imagine
of fed him to Taker though, because
they
he
were
was
similar in
new.
like down, like scary kind of thing, so they kind of mixed them together, type of thing. Would
Yeah.
you say? But yeah,
Shout out Jake, man.
shout out Jake the Snake.
What a
Exactly.
guy.
Yeah, he moves on to the next round. Next matchup, we have. Ooh, this is a good one. British Bulldog and Owen Hart. Joel, do you want to start this one off?
Yeah. Owen. If you want me to give reasons, I can.
You
If
can give
not,
reasons.
I'll give you reasons.
Give me a reason.
Bulldog was a great wrestler. He was a great in ring technician, but Owen was just on another level. I think low key Owen was better than Brett in the ring.
Okay.
His IQ was just on another level. He was bringing a side of wrestling that at that time people weren't familiar enough with unless it was in Mexico or you were watching lucha. You know what I mean? Him
Yeah.
going up to the top and flying around and doing the moves he was actually doing. Bless you.
Bless you.
Owen was just one of those guys, and he had such personality on the mic. They let him be himself. The people loved him. Um, Even when he was doing heel work, he was great, and he was so easy to hate because of the way that he was and the way that he talked on the mic. And with the whole storyline with Stone Cold, I don't know how they didn't put a title on him after
Yeah.
that with the 0-3-16. I know like they the story goes that they Stone Cold didn't really fuck with that, but like that helped put Owen on people's minds that was like, oh wow, like this guy could be a star, and then putting him in the tag team with Yoko, and between all of that, he should have been a world champion. I don't know the reason why he wasn't. Maybe because he was a heart. Maybe that was the number one reason, but we will never know. But he definitely deserved to have multiple title reigns.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, Owen was just a different character. In my opinion, like I said, I think he was like at the same level as Brett, maybe even above Brett. And that was just, and you see it like one of my favorite matches is the WrestleMania 10 match with them. Just you
Yeah.
see Owen being the pest that he was. And then at a time they even put him with the Nation, which was
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even like
Uh,
it was just instead of doing that, why didn't you put him in more title pick? You know what I mean? Like it's just a lot of questions
It
that we'll
shows that
probably
he could
never
work
get
with
answers
anything,
to.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he made gold out of anything you gave
yeah,
him. Like even
exactly.
shout out when he was carrying around the Slammies, all those like I think for like a good couple months he was just carrying around the two Slammies, 2-time winner.
Yeah, true, true. I'm gonna agree with you, Joel. I'm gonna also gonna go with Owen. I mean, yeah, the whole in ring. I can see the argument with him being better than Brett. In the ring, that's a whole different conversation for a different time, maybe. But definitely, he was the best one on the mic out of everyone in the family. Um, I've watching back at some of his old matches. He's definitely, I feel like, in my opinion, Owen was ahead of his time. If he was booked in today's era of wrestling, without a doubt, would have been like a 10-time world champion by now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and he was just such a great wrestler in the ring. I could feel like was overshadowed because of Brett. Um, Brett was the guy of the family, even though they were kind of booked against each other, with each other, always in the top feuds with each other or separate. Unfortunately, his career got short. Um, the whole different conversation for a different time as well. But he had everything. He had the charisma, the heel work. His work rate was good. Uh, he was underutilized and should have been booked a lot better. Also, one of those guys, and I'm gonna repeat this a lot more. Um, Surprised to look back at it and be like, wait, why was he not given a championship? I know not everyone's gonna have time to hold it. You can't just throw a world title at everyone and expect a 200, 300 world title reign. Um, but it's just one of those unfortunate situations that's like, what if he was around a little bit longer? Would he maybe was his time going to happen? Was it going to happen at some point down the road? But we just didn't get to see it. Um, but it's just an unfortunate situation to see, and I feel like he would have been a world champion. One of those uncrowned world champions that could have been given to at some point. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Owen Hart against his brother-in-law, technically, British Bulldog.
I
So
didn't
Yeah.
even notice that. Shout out British Bulldog.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
I didn't realize it until just now. Like, wait, he's technically part of the family a little bit.
it's the
Um,
European title match right here.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Angel, who do you have, British Bulldog or
Um. All
Kingsman?
right. So British Bulldog, Owen Hart, European title match. Thing is, Bulldog only wanted to see him win the title 2 times in his whole career. I wanted to see one during that time where I think '92 he fought Bret Hart, lost the IC title to him. Going back to think about that, it's like dude had the in ring lockdown. He was big, muscle bound, looks, you know,
Yeah, he has the look of it.
yeah, he had the look.
Yeah.
Good looking dude. His hair was crisp. Like my man, he could have been like the what's that dude with the hair, the head and shoulders dude. He could have had like stuff like that. Like his
Yeah,
Yeah,
hair was that
facts.
nice. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Uh,
So during that time, I thought he might have been like moving into that world title picture. The second time, I really wanted him to win the title was when he came back. I think '99. He came back with the blue
With the
jeans.
jeans?
I wanted the
Yeah.
Bulldog to win. Like
Oh shit.
I was like, yo, he's rocking. Like I never seen a heel British Bulldog the way he was doing it outside of the Heart Foundation.
Very true.
So
Yeah.
that was the only 2 times I actually wanted to see him actually win the world title. Owen Hart should have won the title so many times over.
yeah,
Like he's like he can do no wrong character wise. In ring, hands down, he was awesome. I think he was better than Brett. Um, all around, like on the mic, in the ring, the dude could give you a high flying spots. Brett was just hard hitting, and he was technical. You know, but Owen, that dude, man, could do everything.
yeah,
Give him a program, and he'll knock it out the park. Like I was just checking out pictures because when I was young, I remember I had thought Owen Hart won the title because remember we didn't have internet back then. You kind of saw it in like a magazine or you heard it or you read it in the newspaper clippings.
Gotcha.
So I saw this picture and I was like, oh, I remember seeing this. I don't know if you guys are able to see it, but Owen kind of
Yeah.
did like a Kevin
Oh,
Owens
that's kind of
and
fire.
stole Bret Hart's title and was just
Yeah.
going to live shows with the world title. And I'm like, yo, he won the world title. And I was a kid.
Yeah.
That's insane. I didn't even know he
Yeah.
did that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
me
he
neither. Me
kind of
neither.
stole it, and then he was just going on different shows, live events, with the world titles as if he was champion.
The inspiration of this guy
I
too
just
is like,
wish it happened, like it came to light. But yeah, Owen Hart is definitely gonna get my vote here, man. Like
There was so
he
many
was
chances.
top
yeah,
notch all around. Uh, give him a pro when he was with the Nation.
yeah,
He was dope with the Nation. I mean, towards the tail end with the whole Blue Blazer thing, I think the company probably saw him in a different light because of the whole Bret Hart situation.
Yeah.
But man, he even made that work. But
yeah,
yeah, he was dope, man.
You know
yeah.
what's crazy with Owen? He's one of those big what ifs. Because think about it, in a couple months after he passes, after that happens, the Rascals come in. You know what I mean? The
Mm,
Radicals come in. So that's a time that's just you got Benoit, you got Eddie, you got all these guys that kind of have the
Imagine,
same
yeah,
kind of not moveset, but kind of the same damn, I can't really think of the
just
word.
him and Benoit,
Kind of the
talent, same
same
type
vibe.
of,
Yeah, they got kind of
yeah,
the same
him and
vibe.
yeah,
Eddie,
Yeah, those matches would have been
Saturn,
insane,
insane.
yeah,
Malenko.
And then think
yeah,
about it. They even threw the belt on Jericho in 2000 to see how the crowd will react. What if Brett stays
that would
and
have
puts
happened.
on bangers with all those guys and maybe they look at him different?
Yeah, it's
It's one of
crazy.
those tough situations that's like it's a big what he's the biggest what if in wrestling.
Yeah,
Even though he was around for so long. Shout out Owen,
Yeah,
man.
exactly, exactly. Such a long career, but yet didn't put the title on once. It's like what the.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to Owen, man. Shout out to Owen. The last matchup in the first round, we do have Roddy Piper and Rick Rude. I'll start this one off. A lot of similarities between these two. You know, both of them were top heel acts for a while. Both of them were cocky, arrogant, one of a kind wrestlers as well. Um, both. I mean, if I'm gonna have to narrow it down, to be honest, I'm gonna have to give it to Roddy Piper. Um, it's just one of the best. You could say he's one of the most best and important talkers in history of wrestling. It's just every time he talked, it drew you into what he was doing. You could tell that he every time he talked, he did it with passion, and he loved what he did. And it was just, again, it was just like, just a master of both. How do I say it? Um, just storytelling and just his in ring work and everything that he did just proved that he was willing to do anything. Um, and just made wrestling cool. That's the best way I can describe Rick Rude, but I'm sorry, Roddy Piper, but um, yeah, best way I can give it to you, and just small and short and sweet. Um, so I had to choose Roddy Piper. Joel, who do you choose, Roddy Piper or Rick Rude?
This is a tough one. Because Rick Rude did a lot and there was so many moments that was like, why is this guy not in the title picture? And he had a lot of good matches for the IC title and just being one of the biggest heels at that moment and them not really like pulling the trigger on him.
Yeah,
From him wearing other people's wives' faces on his pants.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like just doing shit like that. He was awesome, but you do make a point with Roddy that he is one of like the most. I would say he's probably the most important person in WWF history. That's a lot to say, but I'm gonna tell you this right now. Without him, Hogan really has no heel to go against in the WWF. You kind of needed
yeah.
Piper. Every superhero needs a villain.
And Piper was the
Um,
villain for
Piper
everyone.
was the perfect villain
he was a
for
loudmouth,
Hogan.
and
Yup.
He
yeah,
made you want to just like
antagonist.
fucking shut him up yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially that a lot of people like when he came into WWF, he came in as a manager and then transitioned into a wrestler. And he was a loudmouth. He had his talk show that also inspired the rest of talk shows in
Yeah,
wrestling.
I
So
forgot that was the OG show.
because of that, I think he should have. been a champion, and it's crazy that he wasn't. I mean, now looking back at it, of course, it's not crazy. They were really big on the Hogan moment. I guess they didn't want him dropping the title that often so that they wouldn't let him lose momentum, which I don't think Hogan would have ever lost momentum in WWF.
Yeah.
I think you could have gave Piper the champion at least once or twice. I feel like that's not even asking for a lot.
Yeah.
Putting the title on him once. Um,
But it was also during a time when they wanted the baby faces to keep on winning and winning.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and sending the crowd home happy. Everybody wants to be just smiles at the wrestling show. Um, so because of that, even though I love Rick Rude, and I think he's someone that should have had a championship run, I have to go with Piper.
Good pick. Good pick. Angel could end this one off for us. Who do you have,
All
Piper or
right.
Rude?
So Piper and Rude. Rick Rude kind of falls into that umbrella with Ricky Steamboat for me. Like great in ring work, great character. Guys hated him because he was cock diesel and he was trying to take your girl right in front of you. So
That's
making
the
out with
guy right
shorties.
there. He's the guy, man.
Uh, so I think he just falls under that category with Ricky Steamboat where he kind of fell into that mid card level where because in WCW he was a world champion in WCW. He
Yeah.
put on bangers, but he just fell in that bowl. Piper, on the other hand, like you said, like he's there is no Hulk Hogan in a sense if there's no Piper, that heel run. And actually in that moment, Piper could have been like world champion during that feud, you
Yeah.
know, in
Yes.
the 80s. That could have been an easy make Hulk Hogan hot again because he just took your title
Yeah.
kind of thing. That could have been
Yeah.
easy. As soon as, Piper, started losing the weight, getting now he's into the wrestling talk shows, still great. And he kind of fell in between where he's not putting on these banger matches or he's not in big programs anymore. But I think at that moment in the 80s where he was feuding with Hulk Hogan, he could have had that title run. I
Yeah.
don't see him like anything further than that because of how it just happened. Even in WCW, like I didn't see anything for him. Maybe it's because of age, but WWF, I think it was just that hot moment in the 80s where he was feuding with Hogan that he should have won. And just for that, I'll have to give Piper that nod over that. But Piper, I
Okay.
love Piper. Don't get me wrong, but that hot moment should have been his title run right there.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
For sure. For sure, man.
I don't know how they
For
didn't run that back for WrestleMania 2. Like just a singles match.
Yeah.
Because that
just
could
for
have he could have taken it off of him throughout the year and then have
Who he
Hogan
fought
bring it
in
back at
two?
Mania.
King Kong
King Kong
Bundy?
Bundy.
Yeah, he could have passed that.
Yeah, get that shit out of here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. But on to the next round, we got Billy Gunn and Jeff Jarrett.
Mm.
Uh, we're gonna start with you, Angel, with this one. Who do you have? Who do you think was better between these two individuals,
All
Ass
right.
Man or
I'm gonna go
JWJ?
with my boy Double J. Double J. Billy Gunn. I mean, he's great. I mean, but Jeff Jarrett, man, he should have had something. Like I'm gonna go back to that whole putting China over and the company trusting him to do that. Not a lot of
Yeah.
guys would do that at all. They won't touch that. No, I'm
Yeah.
not doing it. You know, put someone else in, or I'm just walking out. My man put China over in all shapes and forms, and he was the IC champ at that time. And usually, that's the way to start moving up to the top level is
Yeah.
from the IC title. So yeah, Jeff Jarrett, man, I wish he would have had a run right after that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm also gonna choose Jeff Jarrett. 'Cause watching his TNA stuff and realizing how entertaining he was, even a little bit in AEW today, even though he's not doing as much. Um,
Oh, they dropped that gimmick already?
You haven't seen him in like weeks. I don't know.
Yeah, that's over. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
that
that's
was just
over.
for a cool 2 weeks, homie.
Yeah, just to have him on TV for a bit. Just
I,
say
it was
he's
fun. I was digging it. I thought they were going to continue. I kind of fell
we
off the last 2 weeks,
we
but
like we Joel and I were talking about it 2 days ago. I was like he was feuding with MJF, and all of a sudden like they just dropped it out of nowhere, and then MJF is now with Hangman. So it's like they just I guess ending it there.
that's
Um,
AEW.
They just needed something to fill it in. Yeah.
yeah. But seeing all the the entertaining stuff he's done outside of WWE, it's you know shocking to see like, hey, even though the company was called World or is called World Wrestling Entertainment, you would assume that the entertaining ones are the guys you want to push over the most. Which they've done a lot, obviously, throughout the years. But um, again, it was just during a time where I was like, they didn't give him much besides the whole China storyline. He didn't do much other than that, from what I'm hearing. I guess I'm wrong. I don't know. Um,
Now
was
he
he
has some good
doing?
feuds. He has
Yeah,
some good feuds.
was he doing the? I'm assuming the guitar smashing thing was always his thing. His
Yes. He caught that
so
right after he got rid of like when he stopped being the pop star singer.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
once
that's
he, once
even
he cut his hair, that's when he got into the whole I'm busting people over the head with the guitar.
Yeah.
Uh,
early when he was still in WWE. It was just like
yeah,
after he left.
No,
Okay,
yeah, it's still WWE.
so
Yeah.
that's a one huge heel ass thing to do. Imagine smashing me with guitars.
his
Didn't
shirt was the
he hit
best
May
shirt.
Young?
Don't
Yeah,
piss me off, bro.
Yeah,
yeah,
don't
Like his
piss
shirt
me
was
off.
fucking don't piss me off, and you pissed them off. You got it. Like
He's
you
swinging that
getting a guitar
guitar.
over your head. Like, dude,
yeah.
how can't you just love this dude?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how he just didn't get the
Who caught it? May
opportunity.
Young or
Th-
May Young, yeah,
Moolah?
I
May
think
Young.
it was
May
either
Young?
May Young or Moolah, but I think it was May Young. And he caught her crazy.
It was like a different version of the they get the tables. It was like get the guitar to smash it over
Yeah.
your head.
The hell
Um,
with that, and I put a figure 4 on her on the
she got
top.
put through a table as well.
Yeah, she did a
And
lot, man.
God,
She was taking a lot of bumps that she didn't need to.
At 80 years old,
80
she
years
wilding.
old. That's insane.
Insane.
God bless her, man. I mean, Jesus Christ, she went
Oh
through everything.
goodness.
She gave birth to a fucking hand, but that's a whole different story. Um,
The 90s, baby.
yeah, that's weird. But yeah, Jeff Jarrett was could have given the opportunity, but just wasn't. I mean, I don't know what they didn't see in him, but yeah, I have to give it to Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
Joel, Billy, or Jeff, Double J.
Yeah, I'm going with Jeff. And bouncing off of what Angel said, like, I know we're bringing this story up a lot about the China thing, but you gotta remember, like, in 90, what was that, 98, 99?
99.
That
Yeah.
wasn't a thought, you know what I mean, for the male wrestlers. Think about like Taker going up, you know what I mean? A lot of guys wouldn't be down to do a
Yeah.
storyline like that and actually put the woman over. So for him to be like, yeah, this is what's best for business. This is gonna help her get over, and this is also gonna help me become even a bigger heel. So
hmm
he was even down to do that. So for him to take that chance with the company, and then I think the story goes they forgot to re-sign him or something like that, which is
Wow.
insane. Yeah, but that already tells you right there what they thought of Double
Yeah,
J.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's still so crazy that like he was doing all that stuff, all the heel stuff, and it was working, and people hated him. And why not put him at least in a title storyline?
Yeah.
They weren't even down with that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever
Not for WWE.
was in
no.
a program for the world
Mm-mm.
title.
Really?
Like, I always remember him being in a
I see.
IC title, the
Billy?
Intercontinental. Was he a European champion?
I
I feel like
don't
hold
think
on.
so. I know
I feel like he
they
was.
did for a little bit. They were trying to do the tag team with him and Owen.
Yeah, they won the
Or
tag
was it
title.
Yeah. So it's just crazy they never decided to put him in the
Oh,
world
not even a
title.
program.
Nope, not even one.
he was I was thinking he was definitely hardcore champion.
He
But
was
I feel like a
hardcore
lot of people
champion?
were.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
That's kind of a slap in the face for him to be a hardcore champion, though.
Yeah, but because I feel like a lot of people were. It was like that was just like
Everyone
everyone.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Yeah.
Come to
Not
think,
even
he's never in a
one.
program.
Not even one, man.
it's like one of those Mandela effects. You could have sworn that he was, but
Yeah,
I
That's
guess
not
he
at all.
wasn't.
crazy.
They never. That's why when he got to WCW, they were like, "Yo, put the rocket on him," because they took too long over there. It took too long
And
in
they
WWF.
took some time with him too in WCW.
Yeah, because they had
Once
to
Vince
feel him
Russo
out.
got in, I guess that's when it was like we should have been doing this a long time ago with him.
Yeah. But once he
Yeah,
got there, I feel like they right off the bat they respected him and showed him
Yeah,
like
yeah,
as a star.
yeah.
Damn, shout out Double J, man.
Double J.
Double J, man.
J E
But
double F J A double R E double T.
that's a tongue twister. I never get to say it right the first time. I always
Dude,
mess
I
it
used
up.
to love the singing part. The with
Oh,
my
he would
baby
sing.
tonight. That was my joint.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah,
got that on in the gym when you working out, bro.
yeah.
Yeah, I
That's what
might
you
have to
listen
put it
to.
on my playlist.
Sometimes it gets you in the mood, man.
I
Pumps you
might
up.
have to put it on my playlist.
Next matchup, Mr.
Oh
Perfect,
shit!
Razor Ramon.
Yeah,
Who wants to do this one? Because this is
Joe, start this
yeah,
one off,
Joe,
Joe.
yeah, do it,
I'll start
do it.
this one off.
Set the tone, man. Set the tone.
Fuck
No
it,
pressure.
Razor. We're going Razor, baby.
You read my
We're
mind.
going
You read my
Razor.
mind.
Razor's man. I love Mr. Perfect. We talked about this the last round. I was all for Mr. Perfect, even though I picked Shamrock, but that was just because I didn't want to see the zero. Um, but Mr. Perfect, like I said, he's in one of my favorite matches ever. I think he should have won the title. I don't know how it never happened in any company.
Yeah,
Um, Razor and being as over as a babyface as he was, and everyone loving him, it's crazy to me that he was never.
any world champion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I said in WWE, it wasn't until WCW that he was the biggest heel. I feel like most of his run in WWF was as a babyface. I think he had spurts that was a heel. I think the second ladder match with Shawn, he was a heel at that moment. But I feel like he wasn't like when you think of Razor moments, most of his like biggest moments are as a babyface. Um, and I think I don't know, man. I can't believe that he was never changed. Like we talked about, he defined what a cool wrestler was.
yeah,
He had the toothpick, he had the chains, the curl in the hair. You know what I mean? The women loved him.
yeah,
Kids loved him. The merch was dope. Like, how don't you run with this guy? I get it. He didn't yeet, but like he was
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
um, but yeah, I gotta go with Razor for this one.
I mean that. Yeah, I mean I'm gonna choose Razor too.
Woo!
I don't. Just thinking about. I mean, I didn't know he wasn't a world champion, and
No.
many opportunities were given to him. Um, Again, we keep on repeating it, but he defined cool. He was originally obviously it's just not just a gimmick, but like he said, but bad times don't last, but bad guys do. That was like a lifestyle, I guess, during that time. People lived by that, like truly. Um, he made it cool to be bad, and
Just that line
cool,
alone is like,
yeah, just
Exactly.
cool to hear and cool to think about. And it's like, god damn, that is. Um, so he just made it cool to be a heel, and everyone loved it.
yeah,
But it wasn't during a time like it is now, where it's like you root for the good guys and you root for the bad guys because they're doing a good job at it. He was someone who he just generally hated, but it was cool to do it. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Razor. Angel, is it a clean sweep, or are you gonna choose Mr. Perfect?
it's gonna be a clean sweep. But I want to bounce off what you were just talking about with today's wrestling.
Yeah,
The character Razor Ramon will fit in today's
Oof.
era.
Yeah.
That's how strong this dude is, character wise, in ring wise. He can fit. Imagine him and like Damian Priest, him and
oh
Gunther, him and he can battle those smaller guys to Chad Gables, the Seth Rollins, dude. Like the 95, 96 Razor Ramon against any of those guys, his prime years. Yo, his he can fit. If Razor was come out this moment, prime Razor, he can fit in this era. Easy.
without a doubt. I mean, I feel like also
Thousand
a
percent
guy that
agree.
would work like you said, he works so well in this era, and it's like he could have been like a multi-time world champion today. Um,
Easy. And
Easily, yeah,
I love Perfect. Perfect could do the same thing in ring, but
yeah,
in this particular thing,
Yeah.
Razor hands down, and he would have been loved by everyone.
So many.
What?
But
Yeah.
that's also the scary part. It's like, what if people love him too much? You'd be like, all right, he's not a cool guy anymore. It's just he would be a cool guy, but just like not the bad guy we see.
Not
But
that
that's
was
the
Not,
whole point. The
yeah,
bad
yeah,
guy is the cool
cool
guy.
guy.
You
true.
know
Yeah,
what
yeah, I guess so.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, that is true. That is true. I didn't think about it that way. But yeah, that would be perfect.
Everyone loves
Damn,
the bad guy.
everyone loves the bad guy. Who would you say is the besides MJF? Who would you say is like the current like favorite bad guy that you
Favorite
can
bad
compare it
guy?
to? Because I feel like
KO.
MJF is like
I
the
would say KO
Okay.
okay. That's a good
I'm not
one.
mad at KO.
as a bad guy.
I'm trying to think.
MJF is kind of stale for me. I'm kind of like not
Mm,
feeling MJF.
Got you. I'm trying to think right now. I can't really think of anybody. Because even I love KO. Been really iffy on him lately.
I could fuck with Drew McIntyre.
yeah,
Drew
a little
might be
bit.
the guy.
I guess
Yeah.
Roman would have been it.
Yeah.
Roman
Roman
for
is
a bit.
Roman is too cool.
Yeah.
But that's
That
again,
is
like you said, that's the
that
point.
is true though.
Drew is cool.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
he be
Yeah.
saying some slick shit in there, throwing little shots here and there. So I guess all right, so take out KO. Is a different type of bad guy.
Yeah, Drew.
Uh,
Drew's a good pick to be
That's
honest.
yeah.
Drew,
Yeah.
I guess, would be in that spot.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
when
I
he
agree
injured
with
CM
that.
Punk and then he had the deuces on the WrestleMania,
Yes.
like stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
it's funny and it's cool. It's like, yo, he got
He
it. He
tweet didn't he
understands.
tweet during WrestleMania? It was like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
currently
he put
bored
out
at
a
work.
tweet. Yep.
Yeah. He was like bored at
Oh,
work.
Drew, man.
What a guy. What a guy. But yeah, Razor Ramon does go on to the final four. Next matchup, you got Farouk versus Jake Roberts.
Ooh.
Angel, you want to start this one off to kick off this one?
All right, let's try to make this one quick. Jake Roberts, man.
1,000% agree.
No
Yeah.
reasons needed
No reason. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, yeah.
aside
It's
from
just
his character and the fact that we touched base that he's never won a single title in WWF.
Anything.
But his character, still to this day, people know about it, know of him.
yeah.
Um, but he doesn't have the accolades to back him up. But his character held him up.
That is true. That is true. Joel, do you agree? Drake?
100%. Yeah, Jake. I feel
Yeah,
like we touched base on everything in the first round with Jake.
that is true. I want to also say Jake clean sweep there.
Damn.
Shout
Yeah,
out
there you
Jake,
go.
man.
Yeah. Last round, Owen Hart versus Roddy Piper. I won't get this one off. I would say Piper, but I'm gonna say Owen due to his. I feel like in terms of just in ring ability, besides just the impact alone, I feel like that's pretty much self-explanatory. But in ring ability, I think that's what carries him more over Piper. Because you mentioned in the first round, Joe, I didn't know he was a manager before. Like he
Yeah,
managed
he
me.
came in as a manager from I forgot what territory he came from. But when
Was
he
it
got
like
to WWF,
AWA
they
or
used
something like
him.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
makes
forgot where they
makes
got him
sense.
from, but where he came from, he started out as a manager
Makes
with a
sense.
talk show.
That's why he's good on the mic because he probably practiced that all the time when he was a manager.
Yeah.
But Owen Hart also good on the mic, but he also had the in-ring ability to do so. And all the impact his family had. We spoke about Natalia on the last episode, or was it 2 weeks ago? The whole family just had a whole different style of impact in the wrestling business, not just because of their name, but what they've inspired so many people going forward. Again, tragic that it happened that he was gone too soon, but it was also one of those what if moments, and I feel like down the line he could have been the world champion. And I feel like if you were defining uncrowned world champion, I feel like he's the first guy you should think of, um, just for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But so I'm going to go with Owen. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. Piper. I just wanted to
Ooh,
put Angel in the hot seat. Like I
yeah. No,
said last round,
no one's been in the
I
hot seat
think
yet. It's
he's
crazy.
one of the most important people in WWF history. I think we would look back if he won a title or two. I think we will look back at the '80s and not look so badly at Hulk Hogan and say, "Wow, he just ran the '80s." If that would have been broken up with Roddy, I think we would have looked back at it at Hogan's time even more special. but also looked at Piper and was like, okay, because we kind of look back and a lot of people just shrug Piper off because he never beat Hogan for the title. But he was such an important part to make Hulkamania what it was. He should have at least gotten a run with it.
Yeah.
All right, Angel, you in the hot seat, baby.
In the
Who
hot
you got?
seat. Well, this is easy for me. I kind of touched base with Piper on the last round. Just him winning in the 80s was his era of winning the world title. Owen Hart could have had multiple championships, from when he first started. Not as the Blue Blazer when he first initially started, and then he transitioned to the tag team with Neidhart. When he got into the King of Hearts era, is where he really thrived, and when he turned on Brett was awesome. Like, yeah. So Owen is definitely gonna get my vote. So, damn, Owen.
Shout out Owen, man. To be honest, he should have beat Brett in that cage match.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Was it a world title match?
I
I can't remember. I know
I
they
don't
had
remember,
the
to be honest.
title.
I think he was champion at that time because it
I
was
think
after
so. I
Mania
think they
10.
might have.
It was after Mania 10, so I would think.
Yeah. So
that's the
I think
spot
that's probably when
where
that
Owen
that
stuck in
happened with the whole stealing of the title kind of thing.
Yeah, so it must have been building up to that.
Yes, because he had the King of Hearts gear on.
Damn, that gear is sick.
King of Hearts.
I love Owen, man.
Oh, we're coming
on
down
mute.
to the final four right now.
I had a
Yup.
question before we went on to this. Was Owen treated more of like, how would I ask this? Like, was he treated more of like a Matt Hardy type of thing? Or was they're trying to get out of that stigma for him?
What you
Like,
mean?
no matter what you look at him and no matter what they do, was he always looked at as Matt because of Brett? You know?
I
No,
don't think they really had that. Yeah, I don't think
I think
people really looked at them like that.
Owen was Owen. Brett was Brett. They never
Yeah.
saw Owen as a little baby brother. Brett being
Yeah, but like you always look at Brett, you always see Brett when you see Owen. You know, you always think
No.
of Brett. Not at all.
No.
I think they have their own because they were two different people. Like
Yeah, okay.
Owen was Owen and Brett was Brett. So you never really compared them in the sense where, oh, okay, he's the baby brother of Brett, or he does this, he does that. They were two different characters, two different people.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they held their own on each level.
Okay.
And
That
now that
makes
you
sense.
bring that up, Nick, that's very like awesome how WWE like
Shifted
had them
away
do
from
that. Yeah, not like really played that role of like this is Brett's little brother.
Yeah.
And I think and that's a shout out to Owen Hart too, because
Yeah.
He had to play part in that. I'm assuming to
he had
get away
to.
from that.
Because
Yeah.
remember, he's the baby brother. Of course, Brett is the bigger star at the time. So he has to kind of like, let me stand out.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's like Rey Mysterio and Dom. Like, I don't think of Dom
Exactly. Yeah,
Mysterio
sure.
as the son anymore
Yeah, he finally
because
got out of that
he's his
stigma.
own thing now.
Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. I just need to ask. I didn't know if that was the
No,
case.
no, you're not.
Owen.
That was a good question. That's why I
Yeah,
was like, that's
thank you.
actually awesome how they didn't do that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Glad I asked. But yeah, we are in the final four. We have the first matchup: Jeff Jarrett versus Razor Ramon. This is tough. Well, not. I'll give it a
Let me
slight
kick
edge
it
to
off. Let me
Go
kick
ahead,
it off.
go ahead.
Razor, baby. We're going
Yeah.
Razor. Come on. Hey,
Hey,
yo,
yo.
Chico. Come
Hey,
on,
yo.
man.
Are we doing Queen Sweep Angel or no?
Everyone loves the bad guy,
Okay,
baby.
I'm next.
Yeah.
Razor and Jeff. I'm gonna put you on the hot seat, Nick. I'm going with Jeff.
Yeah, there we go.
Damn. Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Question for you
man.
guys though. So, who do you think is gonna win? If you guys had to choose, who do you think is gonna make it to the next round? Like, I'm not gonna
Based off
base
of
it on
your
you
vote?
guys.
Based off
who-
your vote, I
yeah.
think you're gonna pick. I think you're gonna go with Razor.
I know, but like, no, who do you like personally? Like, who would you guys want? I know you guys chose Razor and Jeff, but like, oh yeah, well, you think I'm gonna choose Razor? What about you, Angel?
I think he's going with Jeff Jarrett though.
We'll see.
Oh, okay, because this is tough. I think this is tough because it's like
Nah, this is a tough one. Hell yeah.
This is tough.
But if I were to have to choose based off I'm doing it based off of not just how many. Yeah. I want to base off of how many they could have won if they were given the right booking. I'm going to give it to Razor because I feel like he was an inspiration to many wrestlers coming up without even realizing it. I don't think he actually was Spanish at all, but he played a
No.
Hispanic character,
Yeah.
which influenced a lot of his. To think about
That
it, like
is crazy to think
yeah,
about.
yeah, a lot of guys. That's happened with so many people. They're not actually the nationality that they are. Piper wasn't even
Kofi.
Scottish. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's crazy to think about
What?
stuff, but it
He wasn't?
no, no, you didn't know that.
No.
No,
I didn't know that. That's
he's from
crazy.
Canada. He's from Canada.
Oh shit! Yo, I didn't know
Yeah,
that. Mind blown.
But it's the inspiration regardless. Like Damian Priest, you brought up Damian Priest before. It's just like he pretty much is. He looks like Razor Ramon. He has that gimmick pretty much. The cool guy.
Yeah.
He even takes the Razor's edge from it. But if again, the reason why I picked him is like I said in the beginning of this, it was just he could have been a multi-time world champion. Jeff Jarrett was in a position to where it's like he could have been a champion in the main event scene. Razor should have had multiple title runs, and not saying that to be as a compliment. As a compliment, it's just he could have been a multi-time world champion at the end of his career, but just wasn't given the right time and place to do so. So I'm gonna have to give it to Razor. But yeah, I don't want to be in the hot seat again. So
Damn, Double J's out. Love Double J, man.
With my baby tonight.
yeah. But we do have the next one, Jake Roberts and Owen Hart. I feel like I'm gonna start this one off. I'm just gonna choose Owen Hart because I feel like he had the overall package to be a main eventer, and again, just the circumstances. I feel like his time was coming. That's my feeling. If he was around much bit longer, he possibly could have had a title shot and won. As a Jake Roberts, I didn't know he didn't have many titles, right? I think someone said that. Was it Jake Roberts that didn't have a lot of
Yeah, no
championships?
titles.
No
No
titles.
Yeah.
titles.
Not
So,
tag,
No
not
IC, no tag.
That's even like hard to think about. Just didn't have anything. So I don't know if they were building up to that at all. I don't know. He wasn't even at a championship level yet in their companies. I guess they weren't looking at him as a champion at all. So
no.
that's I mean, Owen Hart at least was there. He had the chances. He was a main eventer, but just never had that chance. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Owen Hart. Joel, who do you have? Jake Roberts or Owen Hart?
Owen. It's going Owen.
No reason, just
I
straight up.
mean, I feel like we've said everything
Yeah.
about Owen.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah,
guy, man.
All right.
yeah. Angel, you can choose Owen or
Clearly,
Jake
Owen's going to the finals, but I'm gonna go Jake.
Oh, you're gonna go Jake. Okay,
I'm gonna go Jake. Only because like he's another one that I feel could kind of fit this era as well.
Yeah,
I know that the whole protecting of the DDT might not work now, or maybe it could
yeah,
if it wasn't an overused move.
Yeah.
His character could have fit easily with like a Wyatt.
yeah,
And maybe he could have been like a Bray Wyatt where he has his little faction behind him, winning titles at that point. So I could see like Jake Roberts, the character, the evil character, being that around in this era, he could possibly have won a title. That's how deep his character is.
Yeah.
And Owen, of course, is just Owen. So, but Jake, I think I mean, his character stands alone. Whereas, like, he could have had a run. Like, if you really wanted to put it on him, he could have got a title run.
of course. I mean, speaking of that protected finisher too, it's like people say the same thing with Shawn Michaels' super kick. It's like, oh, it's overused now.
Oh,
But I feel
everyone
like
has a super kick.
yeah,
It's not a sweet chin music though.
Exactly,
They're just
that's-
throwing super kicks.
That's what
It's
it is.
different. It's
the
different.
way I look at it is just like same thing with boxing and MMA. It's like everyone throws different. Some people throw harder than others, right? It's the part of the sport. It's not everyone hits as hard as one another. So it's like same thing with the super kick, same thing with DDT. Not everyone lands it as hard as one another. It's
Yeah.
fake, it's not an actual wrestling, but it's actually hitting each other, but they're still like it's a super kick. It's sucha music compared to a
Yeah.
super kick. It's
Yeah,
different.
two different
Jake
moves.
Roberts DDT is different from a regular DDT. So it's different in a way that it's more effective than others. Um,
Nah, that's a fact. Also, real
yeah,
quick before we move on, I wanted to bring up with Angel that he was talking about Jake Roberts and how he could like pretty much fit in right now, and I think that's 1,000% true. Someone that really reminds me of Jake when they cut their promos is Cross.
Mm.
Karen
that is
Cross,
so
when he
true.
cuts his promos, reminds me of kind of like Jake Roberts. He'll talk slowly and talk
Very
lowly.
conniving
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
like it wheels you in.
yeah, draws
exactly.
you in word by word, and
Yeah,
it's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So imagine Jake doing it now. It would work 1,000%.
That program would be
And he
insane
just
too.
had the look too. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
Karrion Cross has a look to him
Yeah.
and then
where
after
yeah,
it's
it
kind of
makes
like
sense.
after the match, put the snake on you. Must be a live snake, not even a fake one. So the actual snake. God damn, I don't know how people didn't get scared back then. I would have freaked the fuck out.
Who
I
was
would have been like,
scared? Like I think they said Andre was like really petrified.
Yeah. It's always the biggest dudes. It's
Yeah,
always the
yeah,
biggest dudes, man.
that's a big,
he was
yeah,
petrified of that snake.
yeah, he was. But we are in the final two. This is now difficult.
Oh,
Um, we have Razor Ramon going up against Owen Hart. God, who wants to get this one off? I don't even know if I want to start this.
I'll start it.
kick it
What do
off.
you got, Angel?
All right. Shout out to Razor Owen. Yes. Finals. Um, Pretty much short and sweet. I'm gonna go with Razor.
Okay.
Only, you know, just for the simple fact his character transitions, you know, it's like the cool character. I don't even think he's ever been in a world title picture or program himself.
Yeah, I don't think
I
so,
don't
to
I
be
don't ever
honest.
recall him being in that the world title
That's
picture,
that's even
Crazier.
yeah, it's even more crazy to think about. He hasn't been in anything.
right? I've always
Yeah.
seen him in just the IC title.
Yeah, I
But
think so.
honestly, the reason why I choose Razor is because imagine had he not gone to WCW. Remember, he was red hot in '96, red hot.
Very true.
So had he had stayed,
Could
would
have
we
been.
have seen a top? He was one of the top baby faces. He could have taken over, you know, and had some sort of run before the whole Stone Cold thing came in. Would there have been a Stone Cold? Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the answer to WCW's NWO thing was the Stone Cold and all the Attitude Era. So imagine if like uh Nash and Hall stood, the next person that was going to get some title run had to have been Razor. Hands down,
Yeah.
he was like the top guy there.
Yeah.
That's what made it more intriguing when he went to WCW. It was like, oh shit, he's
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
That was a big move. That was a big name to move.
and it was him
Mhm.
alone that kept it around for a couple of weeks before Nash showed up.
Yeah.
To see Razor in another program, I was like, yo, that's
At
nuts.
the peak of his career, out of all
Yeah, so
times.
imagine had he
Yeah.
stayed, there
Yeah.
was no doubt he would have had something lined up for him.
Yeah.
That
I'm
is very
sure.
true. Yeah.
I'm sure they probably had something for him. I wonder what kind of like what was the motive of him going anyway? Was it just
Money.
like
He
yeah,
said it
money?
was money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guaranteed money,
Guaranteed money
baby.
at that.
But it wasn't a guaranteed main eventer though.
Yeah. But
Nah,
So I was like,
he I think he
he could have
mentioned
been though there too.
he was like the best thing is looking at the lights.
Yeah.
Making other people look good. That was what he wanted.
True. True.
And that's how you're
So
supposed to look at it in this business. You don't
that
have
is
a big
true.
head. Yeah.
very true.
Very true. Joel, what do you have? Razor Ramon or Owen Hart?
I gotta go with Razor, man. I feel like I've done enough with
I'm about to get
Razor.
a toothpick.
Yeah. You all should have had two picks, you know?
It's just it is crazy because I was looking it up and I can't find anything with him with the title. I did see one thing that said he didn't get any title matches after '93, but I don't
Damn.
remember him in any title matches before '93. So maybe we gotta look back into that. But it's so
Maybe 90.
crazy that even after '93, because '93 wasn't even his peak yet.
No, he was still
So
kind of
for
fresh.
so for them to not do anything after '93 is literally insane. But
Yeah,
like Angel said, he was at the top of of his game when he left the Fed. And he probably would have been the next guy up, but
almost
also
definitely.
it might have been just because Diesel was leaving and they needed somebody else to
Yeah,
have Sean go up against. Um, but he would have deserved it either way.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's
'cause
Razor.
remember Sean was getting banged up already.
Yeah,
You know, so even if you have like Razor versus Sean, they always have banger matches.
yeah,
Razor versus Brett. I
definitely.
think Razor had his title match with Brett
It was Brett.
early. I think I gotta
I'm
do some
looking it
homework
up
on
right
that. But
now.
yeah, I think
yeah,
early 92, 93 possibly.
yeah. But yeah,
But it wasn't like a big program. It was just like,
Yeah, it was just
oh,
like a one-off. Yeah, like oh, he's the
tonight
number one
on
contender.
Wrestling Challenge, you know, it was one
Oh
of those
yes,
one-offs.
93 Royal Rumble.
wow, that was the only one.
Um,
That
Was
was
that his
his
only
only
yeah,
one, or
one.
just
yeah, that's what it says. Yeah, took place at the
god
'93
damn?
Rumble. Brett made him tap out to the sharpshooter.
Brett, there we go. I know it was
Damn.
Brett.
Yeah, so I think that was his only one. Yes, I okay. I what's crazy is now I look at this picture. I always thought this was for the IC belt. This
Mm,
match.
Wait,
That's
let me
crazy
see.
to me.
Hold on.
But yeah, because I always remember that match with him with the red tights, and I totally forgot that that was a world title match.
mm.
But still crazy that it happened that early, and he never got another one.
He was
Oh, okay,
probably like
yes, I remember.
a year into it.
Yeah, I've
At
seen
least.
this photo before. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
I
looked it up.
for some reason my mind always thought that was an IC match. It's
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
insane.
yeah. I can see how it, but yeah, I didn't know this was a world title match. That's
Yeah,
crazy. Um, I mean, I would choose Razor, but I don't want to see Owen get a sweep.
shout out Owen, man.
I'm gonna give him.
Nah,
It would be
yeah.
disrespectful to give him a
It
clean sweep.
it was tough to go up against Razor in
Yeah,
this
Yeah, nah,
bracket.
that was definitely tough.
yeah. It was tough. I mean, Razor again, he's just cool, man. I mean, he made everything cool. Um, the fact that he only had one shot at the title, that's very disrespectful to do. I, it's so it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like he could have been the again, like we were talking about. Who knows what could have happened if he stayed? There's a lot of what ifs, and a lot of these guys in this bracket that was like, what if this guy stayed? What if this guy would have done something different or something? I don't know. There's a lot of what ifs throughout a lot of these guys that,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
the more you know, but Razor Ramon was the guy. You just goddamn one title, world title match. God damn,
Yo,
that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's insane. But yeah,
shout
Razor
out
Ramon
Razor, man.
does win this bracket as the best WWE wrestler who did not win the world title. Thank you, Angel, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
This
Thank
was
you
a
guys for
great
having me.
topic, man.
It was a
Yeah, it
good
was
one.
cool. That was cool, right? It's
That
like it
was
makes you
fun.
think.
Yeah,
It's like,
Yeah,
the more you
these
learn,
guys.
it's
Yeah,
crazy.
it
Like
makes you think. Like, man, these dudes should have had something. Like,
yeah.
I
Like
know.
when you brought up Jake, I never even knew he like. I
If
didn't really
I
like
could
piece
have,
it together. He
he
never won a
was
title. Like
he was. I could have sworn he won the IC belt. That was one of the things I was like, I could have sworn I saw him with the IC belt once.
he didn't even win King of the Ring. He didn't win nothing.
I
No
was like,
tournament. No nothing.
John 360. They
yeah,
didn't foul on that one, man.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know. But yeah, I appreciate it, Angel. Where can people find you and follow
Yes.
you and see all your work?
Yeah. Pretty much you can find me on Instagram, referee underscore angel underscore Cruz. Only on Instagram. Yeah, I'm on there. I got some shows lined up. I got a show this coming Saturday, March 8th with Wrestling Is Now. It's gonna be a banger, man. You got Joey Conway, my guy, BJ Savage. You got Santana Jackson that's gonna be there.
That
That's
guy.
gonna be so cool, man. I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be crazy, man. It's gonna be a good night.
For sure, man. For sure, man. We'll definitely leave all your info in the description of the YouTube video. People can find out your stuff.
Yeah, keep up
Again,
with referee Angel Cruz, baby.
exactly,
See
Yeah,
where
exactly,
he's
thank you
refing
guys.
next. All right.
exactly. What is it? Your girl's favorite ref?
Your
Uh,
girl's
Girl's
favorite
favorite
rap.
your ref.
Yes,
ref.
yes,
Exactly.
Hell
sir.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, thank you. Appreciate it again, Angel. And again, this is Nick with Joel, episode 3, season 3, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Catch
Thank
ya.
you guys.